Hey everybody, welcome back. I wanted to make a video on an important aspect that's taking place, and it's been building up throughout the week, and we see it happening today, Thursday, November 14th, and especially during the full moon tomorrow on the 15th, and it will play out throughout the weekend, and that is Venus making a square to the nodes of fate. So why is this important right now? Well, timing. Because when this aspect is playing out, we have the full moon in Taurus conjuncting Uranus. We have Saturn stationing direct. And so this is an added layer to the energies at play. And in order to understand what could be happening, we have to step back, right? I always love doing this in my videos, is looking back at some of the cycles and the trends and the connecting what happened then versus what's going on now. And so we have to look at, when was the last time Venus squared the nodes? It was on June 26th of this year, 3 days before Saturn stationed to go retrograde. Yeah, this is why I want to talk about it, because that's pretty significant and symbolic of why we're even talking about Venus squaring the nodes right now. It's because Saturn's preparing to move forward. And the last time she squared the nodes, Saturn was preparing to move backward. So when Venus made the last square to the nodes in June, Venus was in Cancer. She had a different energy, a different focus. Venus in Cancer can be very empathetic, very compassionate, and very much home and family focused, being with loved ones. And Venus in Cancer can be very romantic and wants to be comfortable and, loves the more sensitive and, adores the little things in life, right? But can be very vulnerable too in Cancer. Now, during that time when Saturn was preparing to go retrograde, it was, Venus squaring the nodes. There could have been some tension, some challenges that you were being faced with, or a decision that you had to make. And then Saturn started to move backwards, right? So it was like, watch that decision you're about to make, because now we're going to review it for 5 months. So, during the Saturn retrograde cycle, you could have been reviewing some relationship karma. You could have been replanning or restructuring your plans that you were making for the long term. You could have been revising your long-term goals, whether it be, career focused or relationship focused, whatever it was for you. And Saturn could have also caused delays and setbacks as to what you were, trying to implement in your life for the long term, right? And now that Saturn is stationing direct, Saturn is ready to move forward after 5 months of, being delayed, kind of stalling things out to help you, really get a good idea of what you were doing. And to really review, have you learned those lessons that you needed to learn before we can move forward? Did you really strategically plan this out the right way? So this way it lasts for a long time, right? So now we have Venus squaring the nodes again. And now Venus is in Capricorn, where Saturn rules. So, that makes it even more potent. Because if Venus were in Pisces, she would be exalted in Pisces, which means that she functions very well. She thrives there, right? She doesn't rule it, but she thrives there. And Saturn would be home in Capricorn. So they're receptive to each other. They're not connecting because Saturn is at 12 degrees and Venus is at 5 degrees, but they're receptive towards each other. And so we have this full moon in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. What's Venus doing? Squaring the nodes. Choice point, challenge, tension, compromise. I'm very much, going to favor the word choice point right now. And what's the ruler of Capricorn doing? Preparing to go direct. So we're going to be making a choice. And we're going to move forward. That is a choice. We're going to choose to move forward. Squaring the nodes of fate, you're going to move forward toward the North Node, right? We're not going to stick to the old stuff and, hang on to the past. We're letting that stuff go and we're moving forward. And Venus in Capricorn is more serious-minded. It's very good for, business and, focusing on financial stability. When it comes to love, Venus in Capricorn thrives on commitment. It loves to be partnered up with someone for the long term. And, Venus could want to be the leader because, Capricorn is very much about having authority. Venus in Capricorn also, can be sensual and, takes things in a very disciplined way where it's like, I appreciate the slow and steady approach to things, right? So whatever Venus is focused on, she's willing to put in the time and the work while she's in Capricorn because she's focused on making it last, right? So we have this aspect playing out when Saturn's ready to start moving forward, and we have a full moon conjuncting Uranus. And so they're all interconnected. The ruler of the full moon is highlighted right now, squaring the nodes. And Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn and preparing to go direct. And the last time we saw the square to the nodes, Saturn was preparing to go retrograde. So there's significance to what was happening during the end of June and what's going to be happening now. And I think for majority of us, we're going to see a turning of the page because Venus was in the opposite side of the zodiac in June. And I think, that is symbolic of seeing the other side of the coin or making a different decision or, turning the page, being ready to, say, okay, we're done with this now. We're turning the page and we're moving along, right? To give you an example of what could be happening, just so you can have some context. When it comes to money or career, right? You could have been in June maybe pursuing or trying to establish a step up in your career or, try to obtain a promotion. And you may have had to work on special projects or, take some steps to obtain that promotion or to make that step up in your career. And now that Saturn is preparing to go direct, that can open up for you during this time. And, when it comes to relationships, there could have been, something happening in your relationship where a choice had to be made, some compromises needed to be made, or, things had to have been strategically handled where now that Saturn is going direct, they can move forward in whatever way you were trying to implement back then. And with Venus squaring the nodes in either one of these situations, you're seeing the results of it, right? Cancer, what your heart desires, what you want, what makes you feel safe, what makes you feel secure, what do you treasure, and, what makes you feel comfortable. And now, we're more serious. We're like, okay, now I understand and I can choose a different direction, or I can, make this compromise or, resolve this situation. so I can have something long term, right? So I can pursue or obtain the goals that I set forth for myself, right? So, it's important to like take a look at these things because, they are connected to each other. There are themes that are playing out. And, on top of that, when we saw the Venus square the nodes in June, we were in the we were just about to have our blue moon in Capricorn, the second blue moon in Capricorn. So that made it very auspicious. There was something very rare about what was going on during that time because we had two full moons in the same month, in the same sign. And that doesn't happen very often. That happens every few years. And so, there may have been something, that transpired or began during that time that was very much Capricorn focused. And now that, whatever that was during that time, with Venus and Capricorn now, um, there's something about it that's coming up again, right? And, I think this Capricorn area is really, it's really going to be the focal point of what's happening, because Saturn's going direct. Saturn's the ruler of Capricorn. We have Venus in Capricorn. When Venus was last squaring the nodes, we had two full moons in Capricorn. So there's connections being made. And so I wanted to talk about this so you can kind of understand what may, come up. There may be, the other side of the coin that's being presented now. There may be a result or a way to move forward now when we have Venus squaring the nodes, where we may not have been able to move forward back in June when she last squared the nodes because of Saturn going retrograde. So, pay attention, keep your eyes open. We are in Mercury shadow, so, it's important to pay attention to details right now, especially. But, things could come up suddenly because we have a full moon conjuncting Uranus happening tomorrow. So, just be mindful. Energy is fluid, the planets are always moving. So, if you're going through a challenging time right now, just know that this energy doesn't last forever and things are just going to keep moving, and, things can lighten up. And either way, whatever is happening in your life, it is to help us on our journey and keep us aligned. Astrology is a tool to just understand how to navigate life and circumstances and, what may be available to us during a particular period of time. So keep yourself grounded, expect the unexpected with this full moon, because you never know what's going to pop up. And I hope that you all have a great evening, and I hope the full moon is good to all of you. And stay tuned for my next video. I think the next one will be on Mercury retrograde, and probably Pluto going into Aquarius. I'm not quite sure, but I'm pretty sure Mercury retrograde is going to be the next video I post. So stay tuned for that. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. It helps me greatly with the YouTube algorithm. Like the video, comment on it, do all the things to help me grow my channel, because I want to keep talking to you about all things astrology. There's always so much to discuss, and I could sit here for hours talking about it, and ask any of my friends. I can talk for hours about astrology. So anyway, I digress. Have a great evening, everybody. Take care.